Hey there, good people. Today we're gonna have a quick video. I'm just gonna be screen recording myself doing this hobbies ranking tier list I found on the internet. I think how one spends their time, especially for young people who have a lot of free time, is really important, and it can lead you to doing a lot of really great things and improving your happiness, or kind of just getting stuck in a rut. So I haven't looked much at the actual options on here yet, but this is how I ranked out the different tiers. At the top, we have essential. I think everyone should be doing the ones that fall in this. After that is really cool. Not only is a hobby really great for you, but I think it makes you a very interesting person, somebody I'd want to talk to, and somebody who's going to be more likely than not having a pretty good life. After that, it's interesting hobby. This is like the middle tier. I think most hobbies are inherently good, so if your favorite hobby's still in here, I would definitely pursue it regardless. Then there's I would not, but good for you, which would be things I'm not really interested in, and I can't really imagine much of an interest. Like, I wouldn't look to get into this myself, but like, I don't see how it's doing any harm to you at all, and it probably has some great aspects to it. And then finally is bad for you. I don't even know if there's one on the list that I would put here. I haven't really seen them yet, but I think there are hobbies out there, like, for example, doom scrolling, if you can call that a hobby. Some people do. That I would probably put there. So let's get started. We'll see what we got here. Okay, first off, I think this is interior decorating. I'm going to call that an interesting hobby. A lot of cool stuff in there. It's important to regulate the spaces, but not like life-changing stuff, I would say, unless you want to do that as a job. Yo-yo, would not, but good for you. I don't know much about the yo-yo community, but it's, it is a toy at the end of the day. Fishing is awesome. I'm going to call that really cool. I'm not super into it, but I do like to fish when I can. Really serene hobby compared to most other outdoor sports. It's like that and hiking. I think they're probably the most chill and relaxing. So that's something I give a lot of credit to, and it seems like you can make money off of it. Big community. It's a lot to like. Sculpting, as you'll probably find, I'm not a very artistically, at least like physical arts, inclined person. So I personally would not sculpt, but I got a lot of respect for it, I think. Nothing against it. Archery. I'll call that an interesting hobby. I guess if I had the time, I would do it. Blacksmithing. I would say... my dog came in the room, so I'm petting her, and you might hear her footsteps in the video. This is a screen recording, by the way, so please let me know if it's poor video quality. I can work, or audio, excuse me, I can work to fix that. Blacksmithing. I don't even know. I know some people do this as a business. I might lean bad for you, and just it seems very expensive, and you're gonna like burn yourself, but light bad for you. Stargazing. Call that really cool, honestly. Not that expensive, all things considered. I mean, these telescopes aren't cheap, I know, but I mean, compared to a lot of other hobbies. And it's so interesting, it's the type of thing that could come up anytime you're hanging out at night. If you'll point a constellation out to somebody, and low light pollution usually leads you to very cool places. I got a lot of respect for stargazing, and now that I'm talking about it, I want to get into it myself. Alright, here we got a picture of someone holding a frog in their hands. Got like catching wild animals. Oh, that's an interesting hobby. I'm not even sure if that's the discipline, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, I think this is Dungeons and Dragons. Would not, but it's good for you. Let me put sculpting at the first, because that's really just a personal preference thing. You know, I've seen Stranger Things. It seems like they have a lot of fun doing it. It's kind of its own form of writing. Not that interested in a lot of aspects of it. It seems like kind of just a very elaborate, complicated board game that's a very niche community. But some people really love it. You know, they plan vacations around it and they get those like Airbnbs in a cave. Um, Solving a Rubik's Cube. Another one I never took to really as a kid. It was never any good at this thing. It's right next to yo-yo. You know, it's not really gonna make or break your life. I'd say I don't know. It's probably better for your brain than yo-yo, so I'll give the edge there. Chess. Um, Put that at the top of interesting hobby. Love it. I got a lot of friends that are very good at chess. That is not me. I had a brief chess.com period, but I was playing it mainly in when I was in high school, and I would keep having to forfeit games because my class would get out, or we'd have to like get up and move around the classroom, and I couldn't make my move. So that was kind of the end of my chess career. But it's a great game, and I got a lot of respect for it. Okay, we got card collecting. Um, I would say, if that's what this is, I think that's what this is. I'm going to say bad for you because it's a little too consumption based. Wouldn't really think too highly of that. Okay, I'm doing a puzzle. Not too big on these things. It's kind of a lot of standing back. You know, I've people do them as a family thing, so you gotta respect that. Um, Mixed martial arts, I call that really cool. I've heard great things about this from people who do them. It seems like it really attracts a lot of people who are down on their luck, if you will, and it really has helped them recover a lot. It seems like it teaches a lot of people humility and discipline, and forges really great friendships. So I'll maybe get into this eventually. I don't know. I really care more just about overall fitness at this point in my life than applying it to combat sports. And then after that, we have this looks like baking. I'm gonna put that at the top of really cool. It's not like cooking where you like have to do it, but you want to have a lot of people in your circle that bake. That's just gonna give you a better life. You know, like it's the best. It's, you know, usually baked goods aren't the healthiest thing. Not to say they can't be, but really can just make your day great. You baking, especially, you know, a lot of people I know have gotten into like post-pandemic baking bread, and that just seems really cool. Okay, this seems like calisthenics specifically working out. I think there's other different type of workouts. Um, Call that really cool. I've seen like different videos and content about people who are calisthenics guys and haven't actually done weightlifting in a long time, going into the gym and then, you know, moving a substantial amount of weight. So I think that hobby's got a lot of merit to it. Those guys are usually just overall fitness is crazy. Team sports, this is the first I would call essential. I think that's a big part of growing up, in terms of socialization and just learning, teaching yourself how to be a motivated person. Um, I think everyone should play team sports specifically for at least a point in your life. I think that really is just so great to have. Really, some of the best friends I've ever made is just met through sports. This looks like mountain biking. Put that in the really cool for sure. Great way to see the world. Can be expensive at times, from what I understand, but I don't think it necessarily is. Although I will say I've seen it's a lot of injuries from it. You know, maybe this is just personal anecdotes, but I feel like this is one of the most injury-prone sports out there. But I didn't even really follow mixed martial arts for that, so keeping it really cool. Drawing, definitely not for me. Like the sculpting, I'd even put it a little bit above sculpting just because it seems less expensive. And I am one to doodle every once in a while. I think it's a great hobby. Bird watching, underrated. I'm a Merlin bird guy. I'm getting into using that app. and paying attention to the birds in my area. It's pretty fun, you know. It's just kind of like stargazing, where it's like really not taking up much of your time at all, but it's a great like tertiary hobby to have. Okay, we got, what is this? Somebody with like, are they journaling in nature? We'll call it journaling in nature. Yeah. I'm actually gonna go just journaling as a whole. I'll call that essential. I think everyone should keep a journal of some sort, whether it be physical or online, and just be keeping up with their thoughts. Like, that's one thing I did. I started it like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and it has like dramatically improved my life, just because and I have a record of it because I journaled it. You know, like, it's not all because of journaling, but it's, you know, made me more conscious and everything, and I really appreciate that. Camping, really cool. I think I personally don't like camping for too long, but just hanging out in the woods is awesome. Sleeping under the stars is great. Don't want to really do it for more than 2 nights, because then I really start missing the showers. But yeah, that's honestly a me problem. Camping's awesome. We got coding. I know how to code a little bit. Not the best at it at all, but I have it in my bag. It's can make you a lot of money, which is great. You know, plus it's really impressed with the show your coding projects. It has a huge ceiling to it. You know, I definitely wouldn't call it really cool. You know, it just has some stereotypes that are unfortunate. You know, all those jokes about the comp sci majors and all that. But if you can have fun doing a lot of coding, you know, making a game, website, whatever, I think that's really impressive. All right. Oh, maybe this was journaling. We'll call this writing. I like to think it's really cool. It's my favorite hobby. I don't think it's essential. I don't think you need to write. I think there's some people that just really hate it, from my understanding, and you know, I really shouldn't put it over these exercise ones. I'll just put it over camping. I have a lot of fun with it, and I think a lot of people could really benefit from it. Okay, YouTube. I guess for my YouTube video, I should probably put it pretty high. I call it an interesting hobby. I'm enjoying this so far. I know I could be probably putting in more effort, like getting a microphone for my computer, for example. So you good people, are getting better audio. But it's a fun time so far. Just be part of this very, very big conversation, and, you know, see what it's like. I've been using the app pretty much my whole life, or I guess even before it was an app, it was a website. Using that, it's great. Dancing, pulling that essential, and that's not to say I think you should work hard at dancing. I think it's almost more fun, in my experience, to be a bad dancer. But it's kind of just part of being a person, so you gotta tap in with it. After that is darts. I love darts. Not that great at it. I don't think it's really a super valuable or fulfilling thing, really, but it's really fun. It's an interesting hobby, you know. It'd be like, really, if I met you and you were just hitting straight bullseyes, you know, destroyed me in darts, I would find that pretty interesting. All right, looks like stocks. I'm actually going to call this essential. You know, it's not the most fun or fascinating thing you can do, but it's really important that your money works for you. I mean, like, I think 99% of the people watching this, you know, you got to make your money work for you. So really everyone should have some form of, I guess this is just stocks, but investing as a whole. You know, you have to invest. Rock climbing. Never been into this myself. I got a ton of friends that love it. I've heard a lot about what makes it so important to them. So gotta put it in really cool, because it is interesting. I think it really mellows a lot of people out. Everyone I talk to that's a big climber is really chill, I feel like. Okay, here we go. Another big essential. Cooking. Everyone should be able to cook. You're not like, it probably will, maybe not better than the investing, but that's also going to save you so much money and make your life easier in the long run if you can cook. And it's just so fun, like food's probably the best thing to talk about to like anyone on the streets too. Is another thing, is like you gotta just be versed in food and try everything and try to make everything. It's just such a universal language that you really should appreciate. Traveling, another essential. Put above journaling. Traveling is so great. If you have the opportunity to travel, it is maybe one of the most expensive hobbies on this list. But it's so great. It's like the art of making memories is the most memorable thing on here in my lived experiences. Like to travel is to just produce lifelong memories, and for that I just think it's so highly. It encompasses a lot of these. Like a lot of people travel for their hobbies, and I totally support that. Learning language, I call that essential, and it's something I kick myself for. That I'm pretty much English only. I have very limited Spanish. I was an honor Spanish student in my American high school, and I really do not speak it as well as I once did. I felt like I was kind of getting stuck there, where I got to the point where I was forgetting as much Spanish as I learned towards the advanced periods of it. And I also read Italian from studying abroad there, but my speaking is pretty weak for a guy who lived there for half a year. So everyone, I myself included, being a hypocrite here, should work on their language skills. Science, I kind of want to put that as essential too. I just think it's really important. I mean, this is chemistry specifically, and that's not essential in itself. But even if your career is nothing close to science, just as an adult, or just outside of school, give it a shot. It's really important to be able to answer all your own questions in the world, and have a conversation with yourself, trying to figure things out, whether that be with like the animals you see in your backyard, or just like little questions you ask yourself, like, I don't know, the Coriolis effect and things. It's a crazy example, but things like that, are interesting to know, and you should don't just depend on Google, or even worse, your own ignorance. Like, go out and learn these things if you have the time for it. It's really rewarding. Golf. I'm a pretty bad golfer. I have fun with it. I'll put YouTubing above it. It's a good sport for as you age, because it's one of the least active. It's just really all skill. You don't need to be in good shape, but like it's still probably one of the hardest sports. If you're really a good golfer, I got a lot of respect for you. Music production. I think that's interesting. Call it. I just like darts more. Making your own clothing, it looks like. I hope maybe it's thrifting. I'm going to call this like sewing clothing. I would call that pretty interesting. It's a very respectable form of art. And especially if like there's a lot of things you can impose upon yourself to make it even more honorable, like sustainable materials, affordability. I got a lot of respect for it. Whittling, we were on a good streak of saying I would not do this, but yeah, I don't know, very strong like Boy Scout connotations. I would say it's a great gift. So much love to whittling. Gaming. I used to love playing video games. It's a huge hobby, one of the biggest out there. I honestly, I might say bad for you. It just especially online games. Those are really the ones I'm talking about. You play something like Red Dead Redemption. That's kind of another story, because that's, not too different from watching a really good movie or something like that. But seeing the light up keyboard and everything, that makes me think about online gaming. And if maybe I'm wrong, but if you play these games, I just kind of feel like you're mad half the time. You know, it seems like some of the worst communities out of any hobby too, if not the worst. And it's just very time consuming. To get good at a video game takes forever. It's, you know, messes up the sleep. Not as big of a gamer as I once was. Foraging mushrooms. It's very niche. It's, you know, you're basically going on a hike if you do it though. Hike with an objective. I call that a pretty interesting hobby. More interesting than darts. Scroll it back up. It's getting big. Scuba diving. Incredibly cool. One, I would love to get certified at some point if I can figure out how to do that. Especially do like Great Barrier Reef at some point. That would be a dream. Juggling. Pretty hilarious. One of the better party tricks out there. Makes me joyous every time I see somebody juggle. I don't really think, you know, it's going to change your life or anything, but it's pretty great. Running, especially, you know, this guy's outdoors. I love to trail run personally. I'll put this pretty high up in essential. I think I really don't know if I should have to argue this that much, but, you know, getting outside and going for a run, not only does it make you live longer, pretty unequivocally, but it's a lot of fun once you get into it. Hunting, probably can't hear this from her just walking in, but I have a Labrador Retriever. She's a hunting dog, but too spoiled to ever get out in the field herself. I think I would love, honestly, to one day take a black lab hunting. You know, I would feel pretty bad killing pretty much any mammal. Don't even feel great about, you know, I put fishing in the tier above, but like I think that is part of it too, is like killing a mammal's kind of messed up. Duck I wouldn't feel as bad, but I guess I could make a whole video on that. Skateboarding. I used to really want to be able to skateboard when I was younger. Seems like a really cool community. I feel like it's seen better days though, if that makes sense. Like it really has fallen off and does not really seem to be as cool as it once was. And other hobbies I wouldn't care about that, but like this hobby, it seems to all be built on being cool. So I'm gonna subtract points for that. All right, let me got. What is that? I don't know what that is. Moving on, I'm gonna put that in at the bottom or something. Okay, and after that is having a pet. I don't know if this is controversial, but like barring an allergy or a improper living situation, like you really should have a pet. Very important, you know, to love all creatures, and I think one of the best way to do that is have a animal companion, whether that be, you know, the big dog, little dog, cat, goldfish. I think they're all great, you know. It's like I like pretty much every animal, like a mosquito or something. Okay, this is like bartending or mixology. I put that in, it's really, well, it's alcohol, so like you can't really do it with kids and everything, but you know, I think it's pretty cool to entertain. It's just a lesser form of cooking really, but it's really nice. Magic tricks. Would not be good for you. I'd rather even do like the Dungeons and Dragons. Snowboarding. I don't know if there's skiing here too. So there's skiing and snowboarding. I'll call that. I wouldn't do it, but at the same time, that's just. I just haven't done it ever. Not really that big in my family or whatever, but like, seems really fun. I know people that spend ungodly amounts of time and money to go and ski and snowboard because of how much they like it. So you got to put respect on that. Glass blowing. Once again, great gift. I think this can be pretty dangerous. A little odd too. I have seen some great glass blowers actually. I went to Venice one time and I saw a very impressive demonstration, but not that great. Oh. Okay, you got another card trick one, or maybe this is supposed to be poker. yeah, we'll call it, um, call this poker, which seems like people have a lot of fun with it. Once again, I'm not much of a gambler, um, but yeah, pretty bad for you. Automobile maintenance or just being a car guy. I guess it's different. Like car collecting is the most expensive hobby ever, but at the same time, if you know your way around an automobile, that's gonna make your life way easier. It's gonna save you a lot more money, get you out of a lot of jams on the road. I think it's pretty important. Wouldn't call it essential, especially like you can just live in a place where you don't need a car. But I'd say that's really cool if you're good with cars. All right, is this just drugs? Yeah, this is drugs. I mean, I made a tier called bad for you. I'd kind of not be listening to myself if I put it anywhere else. Um, what do we got here? This is like blueprints, like designing a blueprint. That's actually, I've never met anyone with that hobby, but I think I would love meeting someone with that hobby. I'll put it over like foraging mushrooms. Graphic design. Honestly, that's pretty cool. Never really done it. Made some thumbnails on Canva for this, I guess, but no, I shouldn't put it that high. I'll put it like here. Put it next to YouTube. Origami. That's sweet. It's a fun thing to do. I would do it. I'm not like particularly good at it, but I got nothing against origami. The origami community. Board games. I gotta love board games. I feel like the hobby people, like they do like Catan and like more elaborate ones, but they're all really fun. I mean, it's a huge spectrum of them, and it's a good thing to do with friends. Photography, really cool. I gotta get better at it. I don't think it'd be too hard to do. I think it's just great to always have a camera on you. So I put it as like almost essential. I'm very, very big on the photography. Want to get better. I have a digital camera I gotta upload some things off of. Gardening. Worked in a garden center for a good part of my life. If you have the space for it, I think it's pretty awesome. Plays into a lot of other great hobbies, it's great for cooking and baking. And just awesome excuse to be outside. Yeah, you gotta like getting your hands dirty though. Kayaking or like rafting. Kind of interesting. I'd rather just swim. I don't know if swimming's here or surfing's here. Yeah, there's just better things to do in water, but it's fun. It's fun. Okay, I think this is acting. It's probably pretty fun. Not really done like just acting. I guess like school. Have I done that in school? I don't know. Interesting. Pottery. Not for me. It's nice. You make a pot. I'd put that pretty high. I'd put that just nice to have. Okay. Lifting. Yeah, really high on lifting. Not only is it really fun, I do think it's more fun than running, but probably not as essential. But I don't know, it's really nice, to be able to just be a strong person. It's a good feeling to help older relatives and things like that, carry their groceries inside. You don't have to be too strong for that, but like just overall fitness is awesome. You just feel better. Volunteering, put that in essential. If you're in the position to do so, you do what you can. And it's like I think most volunteer organizations are really great, and they're like not giving you a hard time. Like usually most volunteer events are really fun both sides, especially if it has to do with like animals or kids. It's the people who run them are really just so saintly and thoughtful that they keep you coming back. Surfing. Every time I've surfed, I have been horrible at it. The bad surfer, and those are still some of my favorite days of my life. I live in kind of a cold place, so I really gotta want to if I want to surf around me. But one thing I would love to get into and maybe even get good at one day, just being in the ocean too, is in my eyes the best place to be. Really love surfing, would love to get good at it, probably more than any hobby on this list. I'd rather learn a new language, but I just love surfing. Reading. I guess call that, if I put science in essentially, I'll put it right below stocks. I mean, like, I don't know. I know some people that are really, really smart and smarter than me, and they don't read. So it's not, you don't need to, but I'm really, like, I just made the video on getting back into reading. I really do feel that it's worth it. And really starting to feel like the best form of entertainment to me. You know, I get really excited to read a new book, and I don't feel that way with movies or TV shows anymore as much. You know what I think of the video games. I feel kind of bad because, like, I love video games, but not a great hobby. And I still don't know what this is, and that leaves us with riding a horse. I've actually done this before and, like, really, really liked it. Like, thought it was insanely fun. I remember that whole day afterwards. I was like, I gotta figure out what I can do to start riding as many horses as I can. And then it just kind of went away. I haven't ridden a horse since, but good time. You know, back to having an animal companion. I think that's important. Much love to the horse community. So yeah, that's all of them. Just go back really slow. Just get out there, do a lot of different things. Try to get good at as many things as you can. It's your time. It's not anyone else's. If you're not working, you know, try to motivate yourself to get out there and do something interesting. You really won't regret it. Have a good one, everyone. Please visit my Substack.